First Comics News here. Once again, we are at Comic-Con Revolution here in Ontario, California. Ran into a friend of the website here with Michael Kingston, the creator of Headlocked.
How you doing?
How's it going today?
It's been good. It's been good. I just got to host a panel with Booker T, Queen Charmel, and Mickey James.
Oh, no.
That was a lot of fun. It's just lots of I know them obviously both personally after years of doing this. So doing wrestling and comics has brought me a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool. You hosted that, and you hosted I believe it's how to create a comic panel, right?
Yeah, it's a panel. I like to do at a lot of shows. It's sort of 50% inspiration, 50% instructional. Just there's so many people that have very limited ideas about what comics is and what your path is into comics, and I try to broaden people's minds and get them excited about making stuff. Because one of the things that people say to me the most is, oh, I had an idea for this, but it was just like The Walking Dead, and that's already out or whatever. And just a lot of times, right? Like every journey begins with a single step, and that single step is the hardest of all the steps. So I try to get people excited about making comics. I explain to them my journey, the mistakes I made, and hopefully they can stand on my shoulders and make something great.
Yeah. Something I was talking about just before we did this. Yeah. Well, hopefully if someone says, "Oh, I can do better," okay, go ahead. Cool. It's right here. Here's your materials.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't generally get people that are dicks about it, but for the most part, it's fun to see people get excited about it. Like, comics has changed my entire life. I mean, I've got to see the world. I've got friends all over the world now because I make comics out of my bedroom, and I think that's a thing that it's tough. I mean, it's tough. It's grueling. It's expensive. It's hard work, and it can be frustrating at times. But I mean, it's brought me so many of the best things in my life I have are from making comics. Yeah. So I just want people to to have that experience, and if I can make it easier for them, I will.
And I think you said your most recent was work with Gangrel.
We have this book called Friday Night Bigfoot. It's about a guy that's a promoter in Portland in 1985 that trains Bigfoot to wrestle to save his family-owned promotion from getting run out of business by like the big incoming WWE style sort of corporate fed. And it's a lot of fun. It's a family some family dynamics there. This Bigfoot. We open the story with Bigfoot in rehab if you want to have an idea what kind of story it is.
So, it being in Portland, being wrestling fans, does Roddy Piper do the job?
Roddy Piper never does the job.
And of course, you worked with Vampiro on Rockabilly Apocalypse.
Yeah, we just got that picked up for TV development. That's it's one of my favorite things that I've written in 15 years. It's so much fun to write. It's the first book that I think I've written that doesn't have any wrestling in it at all, and it's just Vampiro as a underground rockabilly guitarist. It's hunting monsters. His guitar turns into an axe. It's got a very Dust Till Dawn grindhouse vibe to it, and they inadvertently kicks off the apocalypse. So I tell people it's sort of Preacher meets Cannonball Run. But yeah, we got a TV studio interested in it, and keeping my fingers crossed on that end. Yep,
and of course you have worked with a lot of wrestlers. I see back here. You got Sting. You have CM Punk. You have we have to say his name. I don't think he'll appear right now. He's kind of busy, but Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I've been wrestling has been so good to me. It's been a long time. I've been doing this for a long time, and almost everybody that's on top now was on the indies when I started. So like I kind of know everybody, and it's just really cool growing up as a wrestling fan. And people always say don't meet your heroes, and for the most part, everybody I've met in wrestling has been spectacularly nice and super helpful, and have wished me nothing but the best. So it's I've been really, really lucky. I've been blessed to be able to find a life doing, combining the two things that I love the most, and then, having some sort of reward for that.
Have any wrestlers surprised you come up to, hey, I want to do a story, and you're like, what, you're a comic nerd? You're
one of the more interesting things is art, right? Because a lot of guys have art skills that you don't know about, right? Because if you're good at one thing, you can be good at something else. And I remember the first time I met Ken Anderson, he asked me if he could draw a piece for my book, and Tugboat was another one who drew a piece for my book. Like he's like, yeah, I got some pen and ink skills. I'm like, okay, let's see it, and he did. So like that part of it is fun when because as much as wrestlers love wrestling, right? Like they love wrestling, but it's also their job, right? So like when guys are good at other things or love other things that are outside of their job, I think they get more excited to talk about it. That's how I became friends with Jerry Lawler, who did the covers for most of my comics. We were talking about comics and art, and I wasn't asking about Andy Kaufman. I did ask him about Andy Kaufman eventually, but I didn't lead with that, right? But so it's fun to when you catch people, you catch what they're passionate about and whatever, and it might not be the thing that they're best at, but it's the thing they love the most. And like whenever you're doing something out of passion, I think, the people can feel it. The consumers of it can feel it.
Yeah, and of course, talk about Bigfoot. We had Vampiro, but the heart and soul of it, of course, is Headlocked. So for those who are new to the site or new to this interview, can you give me a little synopsis about Headlocked and who you've worked with on it?
So Headlocked started. It's a series about a theater major who drops out of college and chases his dream of becoming a wrestler. It's him sort of navigating the seedy underbelly of the business and whatever, and then out of Headlock spun a series called Tales from the Road, which are short stories that I co-create with different wrestlers. All the wrestlers who like comics were buying Headlock, and they were like, hey, I want to make comics. And so then we started doing Tales from the Road, which are the concept is ideas that you might come up with on a long car trip or whatever. So some of the stories are adapted from real life experiences, and some of them, I did a story with Jay White that's basically what if Willy Wonka was a wrestling school and not a chocolate factory. So we have a lot of fun with it. And I've got to work with probably 40, 50 talents at this point, and we've got a bunch more coming. And it's been really, really cool. Like I said, everybody's been great to me.
And maybe you also worked with WWE for a collaboration, I believe, too.
Yeah, I wrote a couple of the WWE comics when Boom Studios had the license. I co-wrote a story with AJ Styles, and I co-wrote a story with Samoa Joe, and then I wrote the lead Bret Hart story in WWE Forever. We had pitched a Bray Wyatt comic at one point, but I think Boom wasn't making comics at that point, which was really kind of sad because obviously I won't ever get a chance to have that collaboration again.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time. I noticed also when you're on the road, you do take a lot of food pics. Have you ever thought about doing a journal of like where you stop, what's the best place to go? Like a guide for creators when they're on the road.
I'd love to do it. I'm so busy. I'm in the middle of 7 projects, and I'm doing probably, I think, 30 shows this year. So I'm running for my life on the best day. So sometimes it's just a matter of having the time to do something. But if anybody's in a city and, it's a city I've been to and they want food recommendations, I usually have a pretty good idea of where to hit up.
All right. Well, thank you again. Where can we find, of course, Headlocked and all your projects?
Everything is Headlocked Comic. It's one word. All the platforms, and it's all me. So, you got questions, hit me up.
All right. So thank you again, Michael Kingston, for taking time out. Again, First Comics News here at Comic-Con Revolution.